Hello, eRank, and welcome to another live Q&A with me, Starla Moore, and me, Starla Moore. Pam is technically here. She's here with us in spirit. She's on the back end, controlling the stream and making sure that everything works the way that it should be working. But I see that there are 26 of you here in the chat. So welcome, welcome. Today I figured that we'll do things a little bit differently. Oh, can you stop the washing machine? Can you guys hear it? Sounds like my house is about to come down. Did you know that our office is in a basement? So we're going to cover some Etsy holiday myths. Normally here on the eRank channel, we don't do topics, which, hey, if you guys enjoy this, let me know, because maybe Pam and I can start doing some topics together. But with the holidays right around the corner, I know that there's a lot of stress right now. I've talked a lot over the last few weeks about how Q4 isn't a magical solution. You know, I know that there are a lot of YouTubers right now who talk about like everything's going to change in Q4. But the reality is, if you're not already making sales and you have no sales at all, it's not like Q4 is some magical success period where everybody is just gifted with sales. Now, it stands to reason that if you are making sales, throughout the year, that during Q4, hopefully you see an increase in those. But I do want to cover a couple little holiday myths, especially when it comes to the big Cyber Week sale that Etsy is hosting. And just, a couple things that I have heard floating around the Etsy community over the last few years. Hi, Mark. Where are you still back there?
Yeah, my headphones on.
Oh, okay. Somebody said hi to you. Stress. What's that? So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pull up a fun little list. However, feel free to interrupt me with questions. I will do my best to keep up with them. And we'll just have a jolly good time. So I've been hearing this one a lot, and it's that it's too late to add products or holiday themed products to my shop right now. That's a myth that I've been hearing a lot lately. Now, is it too late to start developing your holiday line? You haven't even thought about Christmas yet. You are just now like sitting down to make products. Well, assuming that you're not a digital seller that can just whip something out super duper quick, yeah, it probably is a little late to start developing. I would think to maybe create some products for holidays like Valentine's Day, for example, right now. We should be thinking ahead, at least 4 months ahead. So, in terms of Christmas time, no, it's not too late to list things if you have them ready to go. If you've got products that are ready to list and they're just sitting around your house, then yeah, get that stuff listed. Because ultimately, there are people who are shopping right now and who are going to continue shopping over the next few months. And what we really want to do, especially now that we're at the end of October, is make sure that anything that we have that is ready to sell is listed. Because if it's not listed, then you're not going to make any money off of it at all. And then we're going to hit that January slump that we typically see. So I would recommend going ahead. You never know what's going to sell. Getting that stuff listed, and also making sure that, you double check to see if anything's expired in your shop, or if you've got anything that maybe you deactivated for one reason or another. Maybe you decided that you were going to work on it and you've just kind of pushed it aside. Well, all of these things that are sitting around on your back end, deactivated or sold out, maybe you've got some things that sold out, but you've got them back in stock and you've just forgotten to reactivate them. Don't leave money on the table, basically. So do a little quick check of your shop. Make sure that you've counted your stock, make sure that everything adds up, and get that stuff listed so that you can start selling it. Yes, don't forget to get your questions. I assume that was Pam. Okay, so another one is one that Pam and I have talked about in the past, and that is the Christmas attribute when you are filling out your Etsy listing. So your attributes are basically those little drop-down menus that you see. After you do your title, you'll get the drop-down menu of like who made it, when was it made, what's the style, what's the size, materials, colors, and you can select from the little drop down menus. Down towards the bottom of that list, you'll see one that says, what's the occasion or what's the holiday? And you can click through and you'll see, Christmas, Mother's Day, Easter, yada, yada. Well, a lot of people this time of year go through all of their listings and they select that Christmas attribute with the assumption that, this product, this blue tumbler would make a great Christmas gift. Well, unfortunately, that's not what attributes are for. That holiday attribute is asking you if your product is Christmas themed, not if it would make a good Christmas gift. So when you add a holiday attribute, whether that be Christmas or, maybe you can use this information later down the line for Easter or whatever, you want to make sure that you're only using a holiday attribute if the product itself is themed around that holiday so that you are correctly categorized because I'm assuming how Etsy uses that particular attribute is when they have their actual categories. And you want to make sure that you are being as accurate as possible when filling out those attributes. Now, it's okay to leave them blank. If they don't apply, you're not going to be penalized for leaving them blank. It's better to leave them blank than to select something that doesn't necessarily apply to your item, okay? So make sure that you are correctly utilizing your Christmas attribute. Next one, this is one that I've been hearing nonstop. Pam and I drill it in your guys' heads. Don't touch your best sellers before the holiday season. Don't touch your best sellers ever. But don't touch your SEO. Don't touch your tags. Don't touch your titles of anything that is selling well, because you run the risk of removing a keyword from that listing that might have been bringing you traffic. And every year around this time, we hear somebody who will say, oh, I did a big overhaul of my shop and I improved all my SEO, but then my rank dropped and all my traffic disappeared and I'm not making sales, but all my grades on eRank are A's. Well, the thing is, when you make big changes and do these big SEO overhauls, especially around, the holiday season when you really need that traffic, you run the risk of taking something good out of that listing. The keyword that might have been funneling all of that traffic to your product. So by removing one of those terms, not just from one listing, but especially the people who say that they've done a full overhaul and improved all their listings, you've got to make those changes slowly, carefully, 1 to 2 listings at a time. Keep an eye on them and make sure that the changes that you're making are actually working rather than going in and changing everything at once. Because if you do that, who knows if you've made a change that is negatively going to affect that listing? Well, then you've just made that change to all of your listings. Now, the myth comes in when people ask, will it hurt my search ranking or will it hurt my listings if I go in and change the price of my item? Or if I go in and change out a photo or add a photo or add better photos or add a listing video? It is okay to change out things like your photos. Though if you've got a listing that's selling really well, it's probably a good indicator that the photo that you have as your thumbnail is probably pretty good. Sometimes changing that photo can result in a decrease in traffic, but it's really more related to customer perceptions and how that customer or how those customers saw that listing initially when you had your original photo up there. They might have just liked that picture more. But in terms of the algorithm itself, photos, totally fine to change. Shipping, totally fine to change. Prices, totally fine to change. Descriptions even are okay to change if you need to add a little something in there. Maybe you want to add your Christmas deadlines, or maybe there's a color that you don't offer anymore and you need to remove that out of your description. Those things are all okay to change. Do so carefully. Just keep an eye on things when it comes to your photos, especially because if you remove one photo from your listing, especially if it's a bestseller and customers don't receive that photo as well as they did the other photo, then maybe less people will click on that listing. So definitely keep an eye on things. But in terms of the algorithm does not care if you've changed your photos, if you've changed your pricing, if you've, gone in and needed to add a little something, something to your description. It's totally fine to do that. So let me go ahead and pop down to your questions, and then we will get back to our list. Let's see. Hi, if the Etsy store is in an Eastern European country and I want to sell only on the American market, do I have a real chance to succeed, or is it a waste of time? There's no real way to answer that question, because I don't know. I don't know what you sell. I don't know what your niche is. I don't know who your target audience is. I don't know how old they are. I don't know if they're men or women. I don't know anything about what your product is. You won't know until you try, but don't assume that it's, if you list product and you don't see success, don't assume that it has anything to do with, with your location. Don't assume that that is the factor that has led to a lack of sales, because it could be something else. Maybe it's the products themselves, maybe it's the photos, maybe it's the SEO. There are just too many things that can influence your success as a seller to really be able to tell you whether or not something is going to be successful. And I'm sure you guys know already that I'm a strong believer in Pam. She's here in the spirit, but she also believes that if anybody tells you that, yes, this is guaranteed to work, this is guaranteed to make you money, I would be suspicious, and I would not take much of what they say to heart, because with business, you got to test, you got to experiment, you've got to put it into practice and see how things do. And then you need to make little tweaks and edits and changes, and then test those little tweaks and edits and changes. And it takes a lot of patience, but ultimately that's why some people are successful and some people, give up on running a business. So be one of those people who refuses to give up. Okay. That's always my biggest piece of advice. Should our categories that we can modify mirror Etsy's categories or make our own? Also, if we change categories, does it change SEO or break links? Do you mean the category attributes from the back end of your listing, where you're filling out your listing and you're picking those drop down menus? Or do you mean your shop sections that you fill out that are located on the left navigation of your storefront? Let me know. For your attributes, Etsy tells us that those act similar to how our tags work. They also say that if we have something up in our attributes, we don't necessarily need to repeat it in our tags. Now, if it's a keyword that I really want to rank for, I'm going to repeat it anyway. Or if it's a part of an exact match phrase, for example, maybe I select necklace in my attributes, but I really want to exact match for sterling silver necklace, I would still put necklace in my attributes. So yes, those can influence your ranking according to how Etsy puts it, but I think I would need to know what specifically you mean. Okay, yes, shop sections. Got it. So the ones that you create yourself. No, those, now technically each assigned URL per shop section, if you click on a shop section, the URL itself will change to reflect that shop section. So if you have linked your shop section somewhere, and you've changed the name of that shop section, I'm not entirely sure. I've never tested it. It might lead to an oops page, but I'm not entirely sure. You can always test it though. You could always, maybe make a shop section, just call it something generic, stick a product in it, grab the link, paste it into a Facebook chat with yourself, go change the shop section name, and then go click that link again and see what happens. But in terms of your SEO, no, you can add your own shop section names. And in fact, I recommend it because it allows you to kind of customize them and make sure that they appeal to your target audience. Now, Etsy does tell us that you can technically keyword optimize these sections, because it will change the keywords associated with the URL that pops up in that top search bar, which has the potential to rank on Google. I'll be honest with you guys, I've never seen in a Google search an Etsy shop section promoted on Google. I've never seen it happen. So it's one of those things that Etsy technically says that we can keyword optimize. Your focus with shop sections should be to make your shop easy to navigate for customers. So however they would search, or maybe ask a family member how they like to search, that's the best way to organize it. If you sell t-shirts, sweatshirts, and hoodies, t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, that's how people are going to want to search for those products. So let's see. Starla, I need to ask, what if a few listings are not ranking? Can we do SEO of those? Yeah, if you've got listings that aren't doing well, absolutely go in and change your SEO. Now, if you just listed it and it's only a week, I would be a little bit more patient. Give those listings some time, because it can take time for those listings to build up listing quality scores. And we also need to remember that when you list something new on Etsy, Etsy gives new listings a slight boost in search. So you might see your rank, right when you list a new item, it could bounce around a little bit. It could move, it could change. And I wouldn't panic if you list something and then you see your rank decrease within a week. That's not a big deal. It happens. However, if you've had something listed for 2 or 3 months and the rank is really bad and you're not getting any traffic and you're not making sales, you could totally go in and play around with your keywords a little bit and see if you can improve that rank. Let's see. Why isn't it easier to tell what keywords are bringing you traffic? How do you know what keywords are working for you? There are 2 awesome ways to do this. First way is go into your Etsy Search Analytics beta. Up in the top left corner of your Etsy Shop Manager, you should have a section called Marketing. Is it in the Marketing section? I can look it up real quick. Anyway, Etsy Search Analytics beta. It's been called beta forever. Let's see. Woo, marketing. Yes, it is in marketing, and it'll be your very, very top option. That will show you some of the keywords that you've been found for. It's not great. It can give you a decent idea, but what we ultimately recommend, if you want something a little bit more precise, is to set up your Google Analytics. We've got a blog post on it. If you go through our live stream or our past live streams, we've got a great one where Anthony and Pam kind of walk you through the process of setting it up. But your Google Analytics, that is going to tell you the keywords that people are finding your listings for. And Google Analytics, since it's very confusing, I hate trying to navigate it. You can actually connect your Google Analytics to your eRank account so that the keywords that you're being found for show up right on your eRank dashboard when you log in. I know Etsy doesn't do the best job, but Google Analytics is kind of the standard for collecting this type of information. So I would definitely recommend taking the time to get it set up. That way you can start tracking things like that. Let's see. Mabel the Woodle. I was wondering about the average searches for superstar keywords we've chosen. Is that the average searches per month or per year? Are you seeing that on your eRank dashboard when it pops up under the actual superstar keyword category? I'm logging into my eRank now. Let me see, because I want to see what you're seeing. I'm not very good at visualizing things. Have you guys noticed that? I like to see exactly what you're seeing. All right. Okay, so this will be monthly. Those are going to be your monthly average searches. On your eRank dashboard, we've got that section called Superstar Keywords. These are some of the keywords that you've tracked, that you've told eRank that you want to be known for. And basically what we're doing is showing you, allowing you to keep an eye on those terms. That way, if you see, oh crap, this thing that was being searched for really, really well in the summer is suddenly tanking and now nobody's seeing it or nobody's searching for it, to maybe, keep an eye on that term. Or maybe it tells you that these listings are likely to only sell around the summer. Maybe you don't touch your SEO at all. But it's just an easy way to kind of keep track of the things that you most want to be known for. Let's see. I have almost 130 listings, but only 2 are selling, and others have great favorites and visits, but there are no sales on that. Any suggestions? Again, I don't know anything about your industry. I will say that having 130 listings and only having 2 items that sell, don't fall into that trap of, you know, list as much as possible. There's a lot of YouTubers out there who will tell you, like, list as much as possible, quantity, quantity, quantity. You having only 2 successful products tells me that you've listed a lot of items without having a proof of concept. You don't have any evidence behind what works. So stop listing things. Take a step back, look at the listings that are doing well. Try to identify what about those listings is leading them to do better than everything else. Is it the design? Is it the niche? Is it the target audience that you're appealing to? Is it the photos? Identify what it is about the listings that are doing well that might be contributing to their success. And then you start this process of replication where you try to create things that are kind of similar to that product that is doing well. 130 listings is a lot of items. And I have seen shops that have had 3 amazing listings that sell daily, and that's all they've got in their shop. It's not a game of quantity, it's a game of quality. And yes, I hear it all the time. Rules of probability should indicate that having as many listings as possible gives you a better potential to win. But it's almost like going and buying 130 lottery tickets where, yeah, you've got 130 lottery tickets in your hand, and having 130 lottery tickets in your hand technically gives you a higher potential to win, but you also just spent all your money on those 130 lottery tickets. And there's a chance that none of them will win. And you just spent all that money. 130 listings over the course of a few months at 20 cents per listing, that gets a little bit pricey. So I would really try to deep dive into the niche that you've selected. Or if you haven't selected a niche, start trying to buckle down on niching. That's one of the things that Printify has me come to their channel all the time to talk to their audience, because, there's so many POD sellers, especially, who they don't really define a niche before they jump in. They just make everything for everyone. We seldom see shops like that actually reach a level of success, unfortunately. As the quote goes, if you try to appeal to everyone, you'll ultimately appeal to no one. So having a narrow and defined niche is very important, because it also tells Etsy what you're all about. It helps Etsy to identify, like, oh, this person is the expert in, I don't know, uh, white cats, maybe white long-haired cats. Maybe you're the expert in that, and that's what all your products are. So if someone's searching for a product with a long-haired white cat on it, they would know, or Etsy would know, to recommend your shop, especially if you have a great reputation in the marketplace and you've made a lot of sales for products with white long-haired cats. Crazy example, but I don't have Pam to bounce ideas off of today. All right, let's see. Fairly new printable shop. Been doing printable games for holidays. The last few holidays, sales started to trickle in 2 weeks before the date. Why do they tank during that last critical week? You sell printables, which obviously people can print those at home. So, there's no barrier on when they can technically make their purchases. This just tells me that that's your industry. Really, a lot of shoppers by that point, they're done. Even though you know that your products can be printed from home, this might just be the commonality for when your peak seasons are and when they tend to die off. You could always, kick butt on social media, post some like reminders to everybody, give some useful applications for your games and things, print some out, and get some family members to sit around a table and make some really cool like lifestyle photos of everybody using your games. That way you can bring some general brand awareness. A lot of people just don't think to look. They know that they want to play a game for the holidays, but maybe they don't think about the fact that there are games that they could print. you kind of have to be that voice that tells them that, especially if everybody's hit a point where they're no longer shopping because they assume that nothing's going to arrive on time, because most people are thinking of things that ship when they're buying online. So, um, yeah, I would dare say that next season, I would be really, really buckling down on a solid social media strategy just to see if you can try to get a few more sales after whatever your normal drop off date is. But don't stress about it. If you do good up until a certain date and then your sales tank, that might just be the seasonality of your product and the way that shoppers tend to shop, because those weeks or days leading up to Christmas, most people are done. Most people aren't thinking to shop anymore. Let's see. Just to be sure, it's okay to change up the descriptions, but be careful on changing the title tags and attributes. This is for our best sellers or high visibility listings. Yes, title and tags are going to have the heaviest impact on your search placement when it comes to relevancy. Attributes technically do play a part in ranking your listings. So be careful, but make sure that they're accurate. If you've got an attribute that's wrong and you need to change it, then yeah, you should just go ahead and change it, especially if it doesn't, maybe you've got something listed as being made of polyester and it's actually made of cotton. Make sure that you're making changes that accurately represent what your product is. With descriptions, Etsy actually revealed during their Etsy Up like webinar in the spring that descriptions are not used for query matching. So query matching is the process that Etsy uses when they are trying to decide how relevant the keywords that you've used in your listings are to the query that someone has made by typing, a request into the search bar. For example, if they type in sterling silver necklace and you've got sterling silver necklace in your title, in theory, that search should connect to that product because Etsy can see that you sell a silver necklace and this person's looking for a silver necklace. What Etsy is described, though, for descriptions is that they're not using our descriptions for query matching, which would be, trying to find a similarity in those keywords to match with the query that someone has typed in. They've said that descriptions are used more for context in identifying if the customer has a specific affinity towards a particular style or color. So, for example, if Etsy identifies that a shopper primarily buys items that are blue, maybe you list a mug on Etsy and you haven't put anything about the mug being blue in your title. Maybe you've just mentioned that it's blue in your description. And maybe this person who's searching for a mug isn't specifically looking for a blue mug. Maybe they're searching for a Christmas mug. Etsy might identify that this person has a tendency to shop for blue items, and maybe they show your blue mug even if that person didn't specify that they were looking for a blue mug. So that's just a random example to kind of give you an idea. But Etsy says that they use your descriptions for context. So you guys should be using your descriptions to make sure that you're pointing out things like styles, colors, materials, textures, the type of target customer. Those are all things that you could sprinkle into your descriptions. Let's see. Let me take a drink. Where do the Google Analytics keywords show up on eRank? On the traffic stats? Yes, it is traffic stats. That is what you're looking for. And Pam went ahead and linked the Google Analytics for live stream in the chat. Let's see. I've been a silent watcher for a long time, and I just want to say thank you for all that you and your team do. Your tips have really helped me out. Awesome. Thank you. We appreciate it. Let's see. Should we include insanely saturated tags like gifts for her, assuming it's applicable? If yes, roughly how many tags like this would you suggest using? So start with the tags that you know are better, that aren't as high in competition, that that more directly relate to the actual product that you're trying to sell. Start there when you're filling out your tags. I can usually get about 8 good tags, right? And then I'm left with the remaining tags that are a little bit more challenging. This is where I start adding in some of those tags that might not perform well. So for example, I might toss in, gifts for, and then one tag is mom, grandma, dad, grandpa. Because the cool thing is that Etsy's going to broad match all of the words in your tags, not just each individual tag, but the words within those tags. So if somebody searched for, I don't know, maybe I have a tag sterling silver necklace, and I've also got the tags gifts for mom. Maybe somebody searches for sterling silver necklace for mom. Even though those tags are not contained within a single tag, and even though, they're completely separate, Etsy can still broad match those to create more specific queries that customers might be searching for that maybe I didn't even think of. So yeah, short answer is, if you run out of ideas, toss them in there. I wouldn't make a majority of your tags be these non-specific high competition terms just because it's going to be really hard to compete. But if you're out of ideas, it's better than leaving them blank for sure. Let's see. Need to ask a question outside the box. I'm in a state where Etsy don't have payment options, but I have a UK. Let's see. This sounds like a question you will need to ask Etsy. Unfortunately, I don't think that this is something that I can help you with. I would message Etsy support directly. Anything directly related with payments, your Etsy account, shop suspensions, things like that. Sadly, there's nothing that the eRank team is going to be able to help you with. That's definitely an Etsy support question. So I apologize. I think I see Amy if she's not a Teddy. She's back there. Amy, what you doing? She doesn't look real. She's laying with SpongeBob right now. Okay. Can you recommend an eRank for Dummies type video or instruction to take a new member of eRank through the different options of how to understand ranking for tag selection? So our channel is full of videos. I would start there. Ranking for tag selection, I don't like that combination of words because to me that combination of words doesn't mean anything. What you're looking for are keywords that you can place in your Etsy tags and titles. Unless you're trying to find where in search you're ranking based on the tags that you're and keywords that you're already using. That would be our rank checker tool. We do have some videos. Pam, are you around? Maybe Pam can get a video for you there. Now, I have a video on my channel that walks you through the basics of keyword optimization and the Etsy dashboard. I've got a ton of different SEO resources on my channel. Pam has videos on her channel. If you expand out our video description down below, you can find videos on both of our channels. There is no ultimate eRank for Dummies video because eRank will function depending on what you're trying to achieve. Basically, it's almost like, if somebody made a video called ovens for dummies. Well, it depends on what you're cooking, right? Are you making cookies? Are you baking a casserole? Are you making fried eggs on the stove? Are you boiling pasta? There's no real for dummies video on a stove because there's so many goals for a stove. So let me know what specifically you're trying to do. And from there, we might be able to guide you to the right video. But Pam did just pop in one about how to find your search ranking. And let's see. And most people need to know what SEO is. So SEO basics. Let's see. Hi, if I was listing t-shirts, do I need to put all ways of spelling to tie it in? T-shirt, 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 t-shirts, tees. So in theory, there was my dryer. In theory, Etsy should be able to identify plurals. So if you've got, t-shirt, t-shirts, Etsy's going to be able to know that those are the same things. when it comes to spelling, so like T, letter T and shirt versus TEE, shirt, I would assume that Etsy can tell that these are the same types of items, but I am not 100% sure. What I would do is to go into eRank.com and use the compare keywords tool within the tools tab. Type in all variants of t-shirt, T-shirt, TEE shirt, and do a quick search and see which one shoppers primarily use. And that would be the one that I would at least focus on for your title. Now, with your tags, if you're out of good tag ideas, feel free to toss some of those, weird combinations of t-shirt into your tags. But for your title, I would pick whichever one is the most searched by shoppers. Let's see. Where did the keyword /tag bubble go? Do you mean the word cloud? I know you guys combine the keyword tool, but I can't find that idea bubble. It should be in one of the tabs. When you scroll down in the keyword tool, now that we've made our changes, and you scroll down to the related keyword list, it shows the search volumes and all the different keywords and their search volumes. There should be different tabs. And I don't know exactly which tab without looking that the word cloud would be on, but it's on one of those tabs. So just browse through them. So, all right. We've hit all the questions so far. So what I'm going to do, if you joined us late, you missed the beginning, but I have been trying to go over a list of Etsy holiday myths. So if you guys don't mind, maybe I'll add a couple extra myths, maybe. And then I will get to the questions that are remaining in the chat. So let's see. One of the common myths that I hear is that running a sale is going to devalue your products. Not true. And here's a little bit of psychology behind that. If I went to the Coach purse store, which if anybody's looked at Coach purses, they're outrageously expensive. If I go to the Coach store and I find a $2,000 handbag on the rack and it's marked down to just $500 and I buy that bag, when I show that bag to my friends, I'm not going to say, look at my $500 handbag. I'm going to say, look at my $2,000 handbag, because we still value these products at the original price. So running a sale, make sure that you're profitable. Like don't run yourself in the red. But hosting things like holiday sales is absolutely okay. It doesn't devalue your product unless you keep that sale active all the time, which in the US, and I'm sure in several other places, it's actually illegal to do that. It's an FTC violation. So, but temporarily running a little holiday sale, Cyber Week sale, Black Friday sale, totally fine. It does not devalue your products. So let me pop in. I think I see a couple more questions. Let's see. Do you recommend creating 2 listings for one listing? Not without a purpose. I wouldn't. I would create 2 listings if I were trying to A/B split test them. That way I could compare results. Maybe I want to see which thumbnail does better. Maybe I want to see which title does better. That would be an okay reason to create 2 listings. If you're just doing it to try to make as many listings as possible, though, definitely don't recommend it. Not only is it probably not going to help you, as a customer, if I go into your shop and I see 2 identical listings and I cannot tell the difference between them, I'm going to be suspicious and I'm not going to buy, because I might not know what the difference is. I might try to find the difference, and if I can't find one, well, maybe there's something that I'm just not seeing. I better just not order at all. Also, if you've got a really good listing that's doing super duper well, you have to consider that every time that listing sells, you're growing your listing quality score, which helps that listing to rank in search. If you're dividing that in half and there are 2 listings that are kind of selling and floating around, I think it would be way better to have all of that traffic going to the one listing. That way, that listing is getting that quality score and it's growing and ranking higher, rather than splitting that attention in 2. So without purpose, I wouldn't recommend it. Let's see. I check on the eRank compare keywords tool for t-shirt. T-shirt, whatever. Last I checked, T-shirt was most searched. Anybody who's not reading that comment is going to be confused. All right. Let's see. What is a word cloud? So our word cloud is, Pam, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Our word cloud it is based on tags that fellow sellers are using. And the bigger the words are within the cloud, the more popular those terms are. It's essentially a way to, at a glance, see some related keywords. Maybe you type in, I don't know, you type necklace into the keyword tool and you're trying to find some ideas to list your necklace. You'll see that little word cloud and it can give you some additional ideas. And then if you click one of the words within the word cloud, it will pop up the keyword tool results page so that you can get a little bit more exact and be able to see things like search volumes, the level of competition, clicks, click-through rates, yada, yada. Yeah. And Pam confirmed that's what it is. Let's see. I've done a lot of research regarding SEO, tags, titles, etc., but I'm getting only a few views a day. What would you suggest auditing first? When it comes to auditing a listing, I recommend auditing your SEO last. I personally recommend starting with your photos. And you might have great photos. They might just not be connecting with your target audience, even if they look good enough. If you're using mockups, maybe you're using mockups that aren't connecting with your audience, or maybe they're the same mockups everybody else is using and they're just not really standing out in search. Maybe you take your own photos. Maybe you need to just kind of slightly change the position of the item in the photo. I tell this story all the time. You guys are probably sick of hearing it. But back when I had a jewelry shop, I was a top 1% jewelry shop for 10 years. I do POD now because I just don't have time to do the jewelry. But I had a skeleton key necklace that looked like an owl. And I listed it for Halloween. And customers could customize the crystals that they wanted the owl's eyes to be made of. And on that thumbnail, I had all of the different color options for the crystals, all the birthstones and things that they could choose from. But also on the thumbnail where I had the product itself, I decided, since it was fall, to use topaz because I thought, Halloween, topaz, kind of orange, that'll look cool. And then I had all the other options so that they knew that if they didn't want topaz, right on the thumbnail, it showed all the other colors that they had to choose from. Listing didn't sell. Didn't do good at all. Didn't sell all through Halloween. I think I hit like November, still wasn't selling for Christmas. So I read somewhere that, because I'm a huge fan of color psychology, that when it comes to product like purchases online or online purchases, people gravitate towards blue. So I took the exact same product, same position, identical photo. I swapped the crystals out for blue ones. The blue crystals had always been right on the thumbnail, displayed on the side. Customers could see that blue had always been an option. But on the actual example product, I replaced the stones with blue. It became a best seller that holiday, and it stayed a best seller for years afterwards. So sometimes your photos are good, but sometimes customers are just weird. Sometimes they just won't click on the photo that you have. And if you've already got lots of photos within your listings, try dragging things around. Then after you've ruled out photos, maybe test, different photos for 3 months. If that's not working, is it your pricing? Could your pricing be misaligned with your industry? Could it be too high or even too low? And maybe customers are perceiving your products as being junky. Maybe they see a low price and they think, oh, that's risky. That looks like something that, might be scammy, which really sucks. But, actually, it's a good thing. Some customers aren't looking for the lowest priced item. Could it be your shipping? Could your shop look, not trustworthy? Maybe you need to incorporate in some branding elements. Maybe your shop isn't connecting with your target audience. There are a lot of different things that, could be the issue. I would tackle SEO last, though. I always recommend starting with photos. Let's see. I do POD. I heard you once heard you once say, I'm assuming, that Etsy sends to a shop customers who are nearby to your shop. This means the chances of US customers seeing the products are very small, right? No, not at all. So Etsy has, if you go in the Ultimate Guide to Search under how Etsy search works, on there's a section of that article just called location. And Etsy states that there are some areas geographically that will rank higher in search if you have customers in that area. That does not mean that you will not show in search for US customers. In fact, let me just pull up the article because I have it. I know exactly where it is. How Etsy search works. I pull this article up all the time. I highly recommend reading it because it is so useful. It'll basically give you a rundown of how Etsy search works. Okay. Shop and buyer location. Many buyers from the EU, Australia, and Canada have told us that they like purchasing from sellers based in their own countries or neighboring countries. To make local items slightly more prominent in search, these specific countries, or for these specific countries, we take the location of the shop and the shopper into account. So EU, Australia, and Canada. I will go ahead and link that article because I figured you guys might want to check it out. But if you ever have a question about Etsy's algorithm, that's like the first place you should look. Let's see. Should we use the same tags for title? Is this worth it and work for listing? Okay, so should you use the same keywords from your title in your tags? Is that what you're asking? If so, the answer is yes. What Etsy says and what we've always taught is everything that's in your title is what you want to be known for. Everything in your title should be down in your tags. Etsy specifically tells us that the words from our title should be in our tags, but not everything from your tags needs to also be up in your title because you have a lot more tag space than what you have title space for one. So tags, that's where you can start getting a little less specific and kind of experiment and play around a little bit. But everything in your title should perfectly represent what you're selling. Those should be the keywords you most want to rank for. Everything from your title should be in your tags. Not everything in your tags needs to be in your title. Let's see. Should we use long tail keywords with low search volumes in the first in the title or in the middle of the title or in the end of the title? So keywords in your title don't matter. The order of keywords in your title, that doesn't really matter. What should be at the front of your title is the keywords that most accurately represent what you're selling. If I'm selling this blue-green tumbler, my title should start with blue-green skinny tumbler. That should be how it starts. I should not start my title with great gift for mom because the type of item that I'm selling is not great gift for mom. It could be a great gift for mom, but I want to start and lead my title with exactly what my item is. So, but Etsy is going to read your title in the exact order you've typed it in through exact matching, but they're also going to broad match and mix and match all of the words in every possible combination within your title. So, with that in mind, the order of it doesn't matter all that much. You should lead with your very, very best keywords that most accurately describe what it is that you're selling. That way, on an Etsy search page, customers are seeing that little snippet of text that explains what it is that they're looking at. All right. Everyone should regularly read Etsy's guide. It should be the seller's Bible. Absolutely. And Pam linked that for you guys. I will get back on my list of holiday myths. We've got 10 minutes. Let's see if we can get through it. Okay. I've seen this one a lot. People who have asked if they'll be penalized for not participating in Etsy's cyber sale, which Etsy started their cyber sale this week insanely early. I believe it's already going on. The answer though is no. Etsy's not going to penalize you. You're not going to lose your search ranking if you don't participate in their specific sale. Because for one, maybe you can't afford to, what is it, like 35% off? I think they recommended or something like that. I think that's what they did last year. I don't know what it is this year. But either way, maybe you don't want to run a sale for weeks on end. Maybe you only want to do a sale on Black Friday. Regardless, not participating in Etsy's specific cyber sale isn't going to hurt you. They're not going to penalize you for not participating. Let's see. We had a question come in. Does it matter if you put commas between keywords or not? In terms of the algorithm, no, but your keyword, your title is going to look really, really ugly if you don't separate it out. I definitely don't recommend just listing a bunch of keywords in a big, word jumble. Don't make word soup. In fact, Etsy tells us that if you need to separate them out, use commas to make your titles more readable. But Etsy specifically tells us short and descriptive sentences for our titles. So I would recommend trying to, incorporating commas where they make the most sense. Is it better to put commas, dash, or diagonals to separate words? Doesn't matter. Use whichever one looks the best to you. I currently use pipes, which are, the straight up and down line. In my shop, I've done commas. I've done forward slashes. If you're using like a forward slash, there's going to be an extra space. So you'll have a space. It'll be like keyword space, forward slash space. So you're using up 3 characters to use something like a slash. I use 3 characters in order to do the pipes. If you're using a comma, that comma can grip right on the tail end of that keyword. So you're only using 2 characters. In terms of the algorithm, doesn't matter. Use whichever one looks the best to you and whichever one you're happiest with. Let's see. Back to our Etsy myths. So this is one that Anthony and I talked about last year. Should you go in and put the term Black Friday in all of your Etsy tags? No. I mean, if you're listing products right now and you want to toss Black Friday in there, sure, go ahead. Think about how many people are using the term Black Friday in their listings. Ranking for a term like Black Friday is going to be really, really hard, especially since Black Friday is a one-day event. I would focus more on keywords that most accurately represent the specific item that you're selling. Remember, these are keywords that have purchase intent. That means that this keywords that are directly related to what your item is are going to appeal to people who know exactly what they want to buy. Long tail keywords, for example, keywords that point to a very specific type of item. If someone is just searching for gifts for mom, they might see your item, but they don't have a clear picture of what they even want to buy. Queries like gifts for mom are typically at the beginning of a shopper's journey, where they start their search with something like gifts for mom. They get a page of results. They start sifting through that page of results. They see all the items that are available, but maybe they see a sterling silver necklace on that page. And they're like, I really like that. And then they go up to that search bar again and they refine their search to a more specific type of item like sterling silver necklace. And then maybe they look at that page of sterling silver necklaces and they realize, oh, I really like the ones that have amethyst stones on them. So then they go back up to that search bar and they refine that search again. And then maybe they type in sterling silver amethyst necklace. And then they find a sterling silver amethyst necklace on that page that they decide to buy. Sterling silver amethyst necklace is a long tail keyword, and it has purchase intent because it points to a very specific type of item. If someone is searching for a sterling silver amethyst necklace, that means that they're likely very ready to buy a sterling silver amethyst necklace. Whereas somebody who is just searching for a gift for mom doesn't know what they're looking for yet, and they are not primed to buy. So that's how I like to see it. I recommend making sure that a majority of your keywords are focused around exactly what you're selling. So you're hitting the customers who are most likely to spend money, right? Let me see. Oh, we had one more question. We've got about 5 minutes. So I might stop with I squeaked. Did you hear that? I'm starting to lose my voice now. Pam is all the way in the UK and somehow she's gotten me sick. I don't know how, but I'm starting to feel it. So let's see. If you're offering items that are personalizable or customizable, should those words be in the title or pointed out in some other way? Is customizable or personalized preferred? So again, compare keywords tool. You want to, don't ask me because I don't have all the search data for millions of people memorized. You want to go to that compare keywords tool and search both of those terms and see which one gets searched more. That way you have some actual data to back it up. I will say that personalized gifts have remained one of the most searched terms on Etsy for years. In fact, every time I go in the trend buzz, it's in there. Let me pop open the trend buzz and I'll see. Let's have a look see and see if it's still in our top. Personalized ornaments is definitely in the top right now. I might just search personalized. Actually, let me click the hot button and see what's been popular in the past 24 hours. Yes, personalized necklace was one of the hottest terms yesterday on Etsy. Yeah, personalized necklace. I suspect that personalized is going to be the term, within eRank that has the most searches, but be sure to check. And Pam had said Etsy tends to promote that it is a place for personalized gifts. So, yeah, and I would lead your titles with that. If a customer can personalize the product, I would say personalized t-shirt for mom or personalized ornament, because that's the selling point, right? That's your USP, your unique selling proposition. That's the thing that makes your product stand out in search, especially during the holidays when giftable products are so popular. And as Pam said, Etsy really, really promotes that personalized, customized, touch, because that's something that you can't get when you walk into Walmart. You're not getting personalized gifts at Walmart. Sometimes you can find like Amazon businesses that'll like embroider somebody's name on a product. But for the most part, if you're shopping on Amazon, you're not really getting customized items either. Etsy is really the place that you go when you want something that is truly customized or personalized. So I would make sure that you're putting that right at the front of your title. But guys, we're 2 minutes out. I don't know if you've noticed, but I am starting to lose my voice. So I think we're going to go ahead and cut it while we're ahead. Thanks so much for hanging out. Hopefully next week Pam is feeling better, but if not, I will be here to hang out with you all. Have a safe Halloween. Make sure that all your kiddos